UCF lost to Navy at UCF. Come on, man. You can't do that. You can't do that. Well, I know. Apparently you can. Okay.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis recap Week 12 games, discuss poor decision-making by college athletic administrators, review Dr. Adams' strictly for entertainment purposes only picks, as well as previewing Week 13 of the college football season. Welcome to today's show.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, in honor of Thanksgiving and the first Starrcade in 1983, the Rufus R. Freight Train Jones to my Bugsy McGraw in the opening match of the opening Starrcade in 1983, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, this episode will be shown and released on Thanksgiving Day. And man, I'm excited about that. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful because on Thanksgiving Day, I will be at Bally's, which will be renamed Horseshoe. Coming up. So I didn't know if you knew the Horseshoe people are taking over Bally's. They got Bally's, and that's going to be changed in December.
Wow.
So this is the last time it's going to be called Bally's.
Yep.
But fans, I hope you and yours have an outstanding, wonderful Thanksgiving. We will have some random Thanksgiving references throughout the show. So let's just jump in to Around the Territories. First and foremost, Mike, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Virginia Cavaliers football team, athletic program, community, on this unspeakable tragedy that took place literally like 10 hours after we taped Sunday's show. What you don't know, Mike, and what our audience may not know is CKA has a relationship with the University of Virginia, because one of the things we used to do is we used to take kids from the neighborhood to college campuses, not necessarily meaning that that's the college they're going to go to. But if you take a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader out of their neighborhood, and they can see something else beside the four corners or whatever. It was great. And UVA invited us down. We did a full tour. Beautiful campus. The people in Charlottesville were so kind to us, and 95% of the kids had no chance academically of getting in UVA, but they didn't care. They treated us like gold. And man, I still remember that visit. The kids who are now adults still remember that visit. And that just speaks a little bit to what they try to do on that campus, man. I don't know if you wanted to share anything, but it really caused me pause hearing
really
what
a
happened.
sad situation, and I feel for the parents, and no one sending their kid off to endure such pain and tragedy. Just send love to everyone at a time of need, and I hope for some peace, and eventually hope they can come to grips with what's going on.
Yeah. And UVA is one of the few schools in the nation with strong BCA ties. The athletic director is a Black female doing wonderful work, and the football coach just got hired. So again, I'm just saddened by that. But we're going to move on to our regular show. We have non-bowl eligible teams in the ACC. Clemson beat Miami. Okay. So Clemson stays in the national.
They whooped Miami.
Yes, Clemson stays in the national picture, legitimately in the national picture. UNC blew it. They lost to Georgia Tech, so there goes the Heisman invitation. There goes the ACC championship, actually being an extra special game, having 2 one-loss teams going at it now. If North Carolina beats Clemson, I just anticipate some strange whistles to make sure Clemson gets a W because can't be left out. And North Carolina State, much to my chagrin, lost to Louisville, but that is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Any thoughts or reflections on the ACC? As now we only have one team from the ACC to really talk
Well,
about.
we had that same one. That's the way it was in August, wasn't it?
You got to warn me before you do that. I can't spit on my computer and all these lights, electrocute myself.
next time, I'm purposely waiting till you take another drink of water.
But you're not lying, man. You're not lying. We said the ACC is a Midland Conference, and at the end, after all the trying, nah. So we're going to move on to the American, and that will be a quick move. 7 bowl eligible teams in the American. Doesn't matter. Tulane won. UCF lost to Navy at UCF. Come on, man. You can't do that. You can't do that. Well, I know. Apparently you can. Okay. Cincinnati beat Temple. So just like the ACC, the American Championship game will be strictly for entertainment purposes only. Okay? We had one, and great season, everybody. Good night. Any thoughts on the American before we quickly get away from there? Yes. But again, congratulations on the 7 bowl eligible teams. You get like 10 more practices or whatever it is, Mike. And congratulations.
Get ready for it.
Yeah. So the Big 12. So the Big 12 has 8 bowl eligible teams. TCU. I want to pause on a second here. Now,
did you see that win?
I saw the game from start to finish, from pillar to post. And although I had TCU minus 2.5, and we'll talk about that at the end, I'm screaming, hollering, and my wife got company over. And I'm like, Mom. And she's like looking at me, and her friends are like, hey, you got some money on the game? Yeah. And Mom's like, no.
Don't listen.
And then when I told them how much, I had 3 people looking at me now with a deadpan look. Why are you making all that noise for $10? It's exciting. But anyway, TCU held on against Baylor. They got Iowa State at home next week, and then the Big 12 championship, most likely against Kansas State. Shout out to Dr. Lisa Rubin. Max Duggan, I'm sure he's no relation to Hacksaw Jim, but he was big time at the end of that game, and people were letting him down left and right. That 2-point conversion, Mike, when that kid dropped the ball, I said, come on, man. You can't be dropping the ball. So they get to stay in the national conversation for another week. Mike, although you were not watching that game because you were at the University of Maryland, which we can talk about in the next portion as we talk about the Big Ten, any thoughts on TCU pulling a rabbit out of the hat one more time to stay nationally relevant?
Man, it was amazing to see. You practice that all the time as a coach, you know. You always try to get that in. You do time and score. You do 1 timeout. You do 0 timeouts. You do long pass inside of field goal range, spike it, run the team out. Like, you do all those kind of things. So when it does come and that opportunity comes, because you never know when, you're always prepared, you know, and practicing things you might not use all year. But it just makes everything easier when you do. And it was great to see.
Oh, man. I was excited. I was mad because I was like, what are they doing? You know, they like ran the ball and then they ran. I was like, what are y'all ain't got no. And the kicker didn't even have time to do all the kicking.
No, he didn't do his step.
Ran, kicked and left. And I said, that's what I'm talking about. What's this one song from Purple Rain? He just sang one song, left. Loved it.
Didn't mark it off or nothing. Just ran out there and stood, said,
deuces.
Snap the ball.
I love it, man. All right. So Oklahoma is bowl eligible with their win at Bedlam, and Venables may be safe for a job, but as you'll find out in segment 2, West Virginia lost both on the field and possibly off the field by the time this show airs. Wow. But we'll talk about that in segment 2. And finally, with the Big 12, Kansas looked at their uniforms again, Mike.
We're in the wrong place.
I said, we're Kansas. Because they lost to Texas 55.
I'm just shaking my head, man. Shaking my head.
I saw the score and was like, what is What happened?
Exactly.
All right. So Big Ten. Big Ten has 9 bowl eligible teams, and most of them ain't worth a damn.
No.
Okay. That was one of the most lackluster days of football for a conference I've ever seen.
In my
So
life.
Michigan squeaks by Illinois and possibly loses their running back. Possibly. And we hope the best for him. Ohio State squeaks by Maryland, and really should have lost, quite frankly. I'm watching the game,
You think?
and they should have lost the game. Maryland missed opportunities, and putting my Coach Adams hat back on, to win a big game and to have a big upset, the level of lock-in has to be extremely high.
Yes.
I mean, it has to be almost flawless, and it's that pursuit of perfection. And yeah, I'm Coach Adams right now. So, as somebody during our state championship run that beat the #1 team in the Washington area, and then turn around and beat the #1 team in the Baltimore area just to win, the level of we've got to get this right is impeccable at those moments.
Unbelievable.
And to have them miss out on basic stuff, a punt block, that's just no. A missed block on a blitz pickup, those things, you're not going to beat #2 team in the nation with those kind of errors. But again, I don't want to go there with the tremendous effort and the moral victim. We don't know. We're winning games. So you were there. Share your thoughts before I ask another question for you about the Maryland game.
Man, it was great to see. I mean, 7-3, 7-0 the whole time. I was like, okay. And then when they went up and then Maryland came back and scored right away, I was like, this, this starting to feel special, like a special day. You know what I mean? Granted, the fact we were already there for a special day, but it was something to see. The kids were so into it, players, coaches. I just, it still bothers me. I always say they play to the level of their competition, and we got to figure out how to get that out of, well, I don't, but Coach Loxley and staff has to try to figure out a way to get them locked in a little more, I guess, because they're only playing, the worst team, they play their worst, the best team, they play their best. At some point, they got to set their own standard and not settle for less. It's just that simple. I used to always say, set your standard. Your biggest opponent every night is you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Washington Post came out with an article yesterday, and I couldn't wait to talk to you. And I wasn't even worried about it for the show. I just know of how close you are to the program with AJ being in town, and we'll have a chance to, celebrate that success. But it was about the Maryland attendance woes. And since they've been in the Big Ten, and really, the last couple of years in the ACC, they haven't really garnered a lot of attention in terms of butts in the seats. So they've made some adjustments to the stadium and what have you. But what was the crowd like yesterday? And what do you think is the issue to really start getting that fan support? Because I've been to Ohio State. That's fan support. I've been to some of these places where it's 60, 70, 80, 90,000, whether the team win, lose. Iowa, boring as heck. They're there. I'm just using that as an example, but any thoughts on their attendance woes, and do the fans have something to blame because we can't get big time recruits because it's not a big time atmosphere, and that was from like a Penn State guy from last week. That was a quote from him saying, man, it's raining in Penn State. These fans are coming. But if it's raining in College Park, it's going to be 15,000 people in the gym, in the place or whatever.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot of things to do on our campus and around our campus than it is at Penn State. You're at Happy Valley, it says Happy Valley. Ain't shit to do. All right, no entertainment, no nothing. Been there, me and AJ, of course, and yeah, it's not a lot to do at Happy Valley. So the students are going to go to the game. Where you are at University of Maryland, I promise you there's no Colombian restaurant, Mexican restaurant. I bet you there's no Russian restaurant or anything like that on Penn State campus. Where our students at University of Maryland can walk right on Route 1 and be entertained for the whole day. They can drive 20 miles south and be in Washington, D.C. They can drive 20 miles north and be in Baltimore City.
They really don't have to drive because Metro's not too far.
Yeah, except they walk across the road, catch the train. They can catch the train anywhere they want to go.
Yes.
Northern Virginia, all the way out to Frederick County, all over. You want to go sightseeing, you want to go to Sugarloaf Mountain. There's so many activities here for our students to do, and they're just enjoying life, and I understand it. But that's the main reason that AJ wanted to go, because it was so much to do. It was a city type atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're not in a country where we're the only thing going. Plus, we have a good women's basketball program. We have a good competitive men's basketball program. We have a good volleyball team. Volleyball just beat
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yes. I think they're like third in the country or something like that.
So students everywhere, all over the place. I think we need to, the attendance is going to be an issue because there's so much to do. Not because our football is bad, not because nothing else, but these students, it's a lot of alumni because they still love having their connection. But there's so much to do at University of Maryland right there for the student in College Park. I ain't even recognize it yesterday. They got new buildings again.
Oh, yes, I did. You see what my home location is now. This is my forever Maryland home.
Yeah, exactly. Right down the road. You just come up to the community, make a right, and just keep driving.
Yes. But thank you for that insight, because and I think it's going to be something in the summer that we really dive into on a segment, as we've done in the past on the show. But the article made me think about it, and I wanted to ask you, and I'm glad I asked you on the air. For the Big Ten folks, next week is the big one, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan does travel to Ohio State. They said a lot last year, and the T-shirts and trophies and the pictures. So we'll talk about the game predictions in segment 3. Moving on to the HBCU realm, congratulations to the Howard Bison for winning a share of the MEAC championship. North Carolina Central will have the MEAC bid for the Celebration Bowl, but Howard finished their season 4-1 in conference and earned a share of the MEAC championship. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, sir.
They're not playing in the class.
No, due to the tiebreaker, and I believe
next story.
Central beat them head to head, so they're going to be the representative. But again, congratulations! Shout out to Akil, our man. Take the title, take the ring, and we're going to move on to the SWAC. Looks like Jackson State will play Prairie View for the SWAC championship on December 3rd, unless they're going to play somebody else. And from there, they will earn the right to play the MEAC champion, North Carolina Central, at the Celebration Bowl on December 17th.
Where's that at?
Let's say the Superdome, just to say it. And I'm
thinking,
yeah.
I thought that was Southern and Grambling, though.
No. Okay. Southern Grambling play every year for like a game, but this is for the Black National Championship. All right. And remember, they didn't win it last year.
The BNC.
I'm not. See.
National Championship.
All right. We're going to move on to Group of 5 fans. No Group of 5 team outside of the American Conference was ranked in the CFP. Coastal missed an opportunity to win their 10th game, but we totally understand, as they were supposed to play Virginia. And I am so appreciative of the colleges and universities across the country and what they did. But Coastal's going to be 9-1. UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, and Troy are both 9-2. This is just getting you ready for bowls, fans. Yep. Boise State, Air Force, and Ohio are 8-3. So Conference USA has 4 bowl eligible teams. MACtion, the Mid-American Conference, has 4. Max. The Mountain West Conference has 7. Stop sleeping on the Mountain West in basketball. Stop sleeping in the Mountain West football. They gonna beat somebody. And the Sun Belt has 5. JMU doesn't count this year, or else they would have had 6. So that's pretty much as deep as we're gonna go with the group of 5, because bowl stuff starting to come out. And in segment 3, I'm going to ask my partner how deep he wants to go with the bowls next week, and he'll tell me. Independence. Notre Dame beat BC. Beat them bad and covered because the over-under was 43. But again, we'll talk about that in segment 3 in the snow. So they head into USC eyeing a major bowl bid. So USC's playing for a chance in the playoff, and we'll talk about that in segment 3. But Notre Dame might be in a New Year's 6 bowl with a win. They're going to play for something. So, hey, man. Army beat UConn 34-17. I had to tell you that because everybody, including myself, said, hey, congratulations, UConn. Yeah, you're bowl eligible. And then you go out and lay an egg against Army. Yeah. I hope you make a bowl so I can pick the other way and make some money off of this. So as an independent team, there are 4 bowl eligible independent teams. So any thoughts on Notre Dame's pending showdown with USC?
I think Notre Dame wins this one. I can't wait to see it. USC, yes, they got better players now, but I think Notre Dame's on the roll and in the groove. And for the first year, I think it just took a little while struggle, but I can't wait. You know, that was my dream school for AJ. So, you know, I've always been a Notre Dame fan.
All right. So now we're getting down to the last 2, the Pac-12. The Pac-12 has 7 bowl eligible teams.
Wake me up.
Hey, Chip Kelly, thanks for nothing. Okay, USC beat UCLA, and now we formally have a Pac-12 team that's in play for the CFP. Thanks for nothing, Chip. Channeling my inner Harley race from Starcade 1983, I got a message for Notre Dame. I don't care what you do, but you gotta keep them out. You got to keep them away from the playoff. So I want you to dig deep and find a way to beat USC because I want them out, just like Harley wanted Flair out in 1983. Oregon beat Utah. So we got a 2-loss team and a 3-loss team. Washington beat Colorado, and Oregon State is 8-3 and could beat Utah. So, man, the only team that could get in the way of the CFP is USC. And cheer for old Notre Dame. I want the bounty. I've got a shiny nickel with your name on it. And if you want the money, anyway. Seriously, any thoughts on the Pac-12? Because I want them nowhere near my New Year's real football stuff.
You can go ahead and let that go. No thoughts on the Pac-12. We could talk about them and they did this. Nope. Done, bro.
Done. All right. The SEC, they got 10 bowl eligible teams, but they had a bad week of games, Mike. They had a bad week. Georgia looked like poop against Kentucky.
I'll take it.
Looked like poop.
Whoa. You know I am about Kentucky. Stop it.
Man, they look like poop against Vanderbilt. And then Georgia, 16 points. Again, Georgia's #1 team in the country. We're not crazy, but yeah, that's a bad one. But let me tell you a little something about South Carolina. South Carolina, the Gamecocks, they looked and listened to the show last week. I'm sure they did. And said, you know what? The boss man is one win away from cashing the ticket. So let's dig deep. Shane Beamer gave me a call on the lightning bolt on the Lear jet. Said, we got you, coach. We got you. And they took Tennessee out the woodshed, smacked around a little bit.
Yo.
And now I've got my money, and I've won $6, Mike, and 28 cents. Season back. And my wife and I are going to have an extra beverage next week at the casino thanks to South Carolina.
You ain't getting no $6 drink in Vegas.
Sorry, folks. This is the running joke with my players that took a trip to Pro Bowl land. But South Carolina beat Tennessee, and both myself and my partner were like, I don't think that ticket's any good anymore. But sure enough, hey man, they got it done. What happened with Tennessee? And now we don't have to talk about them anymore either.
Spencer Rattler, he showed up. Those guys really did a good job. He used his legs a little less. They used the back more last night. It looked good watching the game. Tennessee, I don't know. It's like they've how far the mighty have fallen. Is that what? I don't know. It's like they become uninterested, since not being in the major picture. You know how that happens.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get through the season.
Well, and it's actually $11.50 that I won. I just checked the ticket. So $10 to win $11.50 all season watching South Carolina. And that's why it's strictly for entertainment purposes only. As we close out, Arkansas beat Ole Miss. That gives me pause heading into the Egg Bowl. You'll find out why segment 3. And how in the hell did Vanderbilt beat Florida? What happened to Florida? You're Florida. I'm sure Steve Spurrier threw a visor somewhere. And
I don't know what's going on. Not Vanderbilt. That's got to be the first time that happened, right?
In like 10 or 12 years or something ridiculous.
10 or 12? Oh, yeah, since Franklin left. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike James might have got one.
Yep.
All right, fans. That was a supersized around the territories, and we'll be right back to talk about bad administration in college athletics in segment 2 of the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, Coach Francis is going to have to listen to me be mad at administration because he is an administrator now. So everybody wants the glory, Mike, but nobody wants the responsibility. Leaders throughout college athletics are considering appointing a chief operating officer of college football who would report to a proposed FBS football governing body, according to media reports. Okay. According to this proposal, FBS football governing body would primarily be comprised of people with significant football knowledge and appointed by their conferences. There would also be a representative from the American Football Coaches Association, along with 4 independent directors, including at least 2 former student athletes, a combination of unbiased people and those who have a player's perspective, which is what the Knight Commission, who is a big proponent of college reform, has been pushing for. Here's where I'm pausing, Mike. The FBS football governing board would decide all matters related to FBS football, except for rules related to academics, financial aid, and health and safety. While the board will oversee things like officiating, rules, and scheduling, many agree that there are issues that should remain at the university level, and the NCAA would remain the legal shield for this organization. The liability issues are at the crux of why most athletic leaders want college football to remain under the NCAA. The NCAA currently has a football oversight committee, but 6 of the 18 members represent the FCS, and many athletic directors lament the fact that they have different challenges that should be dealt with separately.
Mhm.
In other words, we want all the money and none of the responsibility. And that is what bothers me. Mike, I sent you just the outline of this proposal for you to glance at, but any thoughts? Because it makes me sick that you don't want all of it. You don't want all of it. You don't want the health and the safety, the academic piece. All you want to do is schedule a football
The
game
money.
and keep it moving.
The money. That's all it is.
Yeah. So
They just want the money. They want the money. You can see that you have someone that you're going to appoint like that. It goes back to, I thought it was the education. I keep saying that. I mean, all I've been saying. We keep talking about, but the kids get a free education. What does this got to do with the kids and the education?
So yeah, we got to do better, and we will be keeping an eye on this, which takes me to the next rant. To quote Bret Hart in his feud with Shawn Michaels, you don't have the insides to do it. Bret Hart was injured. He was in a wheelchair, and Shawn Michaels and him were going back and forth. And Bret Hart stood up and said, "You want to do something? You want to do something?" Well, you don't have the guts to do it. Shawn Michaels super kicked him right back in the wheelchair. So the University of California Regents will decide on December 14th whether UCLA can depart for the Pac-12 from the Pac-12 for the Big Ten. The Regents met last week and discussed whether to affirm, air quote, overturn or abstain UCLA's decision to become a member of the Big Ten in 2024. Here's the line. Following a report and discussion on the impacts of the conference realignment related to the student athlete experience, the Board of Regents announced that it will hold a special meeting on December 14th to make a final determination about UCLA. Here's the bottom line, Mike. There is likely no amount of money that could influence UCLA to stay in the Pac-12 at this point. The
No.
Big Ten payout from the new media rights deal signed in August is expected to be at least $75 million annually. Pac-12 teams made $34.3 million per school annually. Yeah, good luck with it. I can't wait to December 14th for you to say, nah, they can't go. Okay, I want to find the person that's going to say that. So, any thoughts on that before I go to the next piece?
So you can't wait to hear him say it?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to sit and listen to this foolishness and say, nah, we don't want that money. We don't want it. So December 14th is marked selfishly on my calendar. All right. Mike Starpacket. West Virginia has parted with athletic director Shane Lyons last week. He leaves amid mounting pressure, which reached a head during a tense meeting with school president E. Gordon Gee, who offered Lyons a chance to relinquish his athletic director role, but stay on as the associate vice president. So, with that being said, football coach Neil Brown, who was hired with Gee's blessing prior to the 2019 season, keeps losing ball games. And West Virginia has already hired a search firm as it looks for a new AD, which they hope to have in place in the next 3 to 4 weeks. While the new AD's first line of business will be evaluating the state of the football program, the early signing period begins December 21st. Mike, any thoughts on West Virginia's AD search and the status of the football coach postseason?
Is Bob Huggins going to be a part of that? That's all I want to know.
My guess is no. It's going to be my guess.
That's all. I don't know how you going to get. I mean, Morgantown is Morgantown. That's a tough place, and there was one point in time where you could just live off the players from Morgantown, from the state of West Virginia. And I don't know if the state of West Virginia football is as big as it used to be. You know what I mean?
They do get it in Morgantown, though. I will
I
say
mean,
that.
college life, yes, but I mean, high school football as they build players and programs. You know, it used to be like Nebraska back in the day where the roster was 60, 70% guys from Nebraska. West Virginia used to be that way. You grew up wanting to go to WVU and all that, but that's not the case anymore.
So let me ask you this, and we're doing this live on the air. West Virginia has been in multiple conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't they be in the ACC?
They don't want to be in there with Maryland. You know how that whole
Maryland's not in the ACC.
Yeah, but they didn't want to be in there from the begin with because of Maryland. And then they don't think they can recruit probably. If it's me, I'm staying Big 12. I'm staying almost that Midwest kind because the fanfare that comes with the Carolina,
Okay.
Duke, Syracuse, like West Virginia can't live up to that.
Okay. So they're more Texas Tech
They're
than they are.
Yes, than they are Syracuse.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you can't, yeah.
Understood. Okay. So this story came across my desk, Mike, and made me think of both of us for some strange reason. So there is somebody who's charged with stalking a coach. A former North Carolina State football player was arrested this week and charged with misdemeanor stalking and communicating threats to Wolfpack head coach Dave Doran, according to records. The arrest stems from a tweet reportedly sent by Joseph Bolapelli, a member of the 2018-2019 NC State football team, saying, "I'ma get him, I promise, Dave Doran and the rest." The school has not released a statement, but confirmed that the young man was a member of the football team before transferring to Maryland. He was also charged with resisting arrest. Mike, what are we doing now that folks are stalking people? Is this about playing time? I mean,
that's the thing you don't know. It scares me. I don't want to come out and say the kid has problems or kid has issues because we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We don't know what the coach did, said, implied, or anything to make him feel the way he did, to make this kid feel cornered or be vengeful. Like you don't know because college coaches let you have it, man.
Yes, that's what made me think. Hey, look, man, there's been many a person left my office paused, and there's been many a player who's left your office paused after a conversation, and man. That one gave me, again, pause. Last thing, and I wanted to get your thoughts on Charlotte's new coach. So Charlotte 49ers have chosen to hire Michigan associate coach Biff Poggi. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Poggi.
Okay. As its next head football coach. He replaces Will Healy. Poggi was with Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh hired him after a disappointing pandemic campaign. And let's just say, since he's been there, Michigan's been on the upswing. This gentleman is a legendary high school coach in Maryland. He coached at Gilman, and I'd like for you, because I think you have some background. Can you give us some background on that as well as your thoughts on the hire?
Biff was there before he even came. He was a college coach before he came back to high school. He was the head coach at Gilman. Gilman won championships when he was there. Everybody guessed they respect him and was okay with what he was doing as at Gilman, where they recruit players as well. And players go and play. It's a private school in the Baltimore Catholic League. But then he went to St. Francis and did the same thing, and everybody were up in arms because now it's St. Francis doing it. They laughed at him. Everybody wanted to schedule him. To now, nobody wants to schedule him. The running back that's at Michigan is from St. Francis. He built a very good program, and now Muhammad and the guys are doing a good job. The athletic director is a good friend. He's happy with what they got going on. They're doing great things nationally. And I think coach he gets a bad rap, he gets a bad rap, but he works just like any other college coach. He recruits, he gets it in. So what I see now is the pipeline developing from the DMV area to Charlotte. You know, Charlotte's a good area. Your boys down there, like it's going to be, it's going to be something.
So I wanted to spend a little time with this because it's hiring former high school coaches the new trend. The hiring of Coach Poggi comes on the heels of UTSA, who we've talked about all season. University of Texas San Antonio. They hired Jeff Traylor, and this guy won 3 state championships as a Texas high school football coach. And he has a 27-9 record at UTSA, including an 18-3 mark in conference play. Texas Tech similarly hired 3-time state championship Texas high school coach Joey McGuire after Traylor success. It is important that Charlotte get this hire right. They're about to enter the American Athletic Conference. Charlotte's a bustling city, it's the Queen City. A lot of action, a lot of this, a lot of that down there. You got, similar to Maryland, you got pro football, you got pro basketball, all in Charlotte. Okay. 6 Conference USA programs are entering the American Conference as Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF lead for the Big 12. Charlotte boasts the 3rd highest athletic operating expenses of any Conference USA program, but ain't a major power in football. And as you said, this just might be the ticket to set them up. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. And fans will be right back on the other side of this break, talking about things strictly for entertainment purposes only on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA SAVE Project academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 3, man, I don't know how my partner's feeling about this, so we'll find out. So here's my top 5, Mike. And fans, we only care about the college football playoffs with us, man. So I got Georgia as 1. I got Ohio State as 2. I got TCU as 3. I got Michigan as 4 until next week. And I have USC at 5. I got Clemson and LSU on the outside looking in. And for the college football playoffs, I don't have anybody else, Mike. So what's your 4 look like for the college football playoffs right now?
Georgia, Michigan, LSU, Ohio State, they can flip, but Georgia definitely number 1. Michigan definitely number 2. Ohio State and LSU can flip-flop, especially after what Ohio State showed me yesterday. I don't think, if that guy's hurt, if their running back is out for the rest of the extended period of time, they're in trouble.
Yeah, but they're going to beat Michigan next week. Okay, we that's well documented. Okay,
I don't know.
And LSU's not going to beat Georgia, so they're not going to be in it either. And Tennessee lost, so they're not going to be in it. So now we're looking at Clemson, USC, and TCU. And if TCU loses in their championship, that's still a 1-loss Big 12 team.
Yeah, they're going to get them in.
We're going to, gosh, gee willikers.
Clemson, Georgia, Clemson, TCU, Michigan.
So it's going to be crazy. But we're going to make some money off that.
Ohio State, Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, and Clemson. If Michigan loses to Ohio State.
Yeah. Come on, Notre Dame. Fight, Irish fight. Okay. All right.
Bowl. That's Outback Bowl. That's what it
So
was.
this week I went 3-2 fans, but I'm down $8.15 because I went cheap on a couple of bets and overplayed some others. So against the spread, I took TCU -2.5. Didn't work out for me, but I'm good with that. And against the spread, I'm 7-5, so I'm comfortable. They should have won a little more, but whatever. I took the over/under BC Notre Dame over 43. I did not know the weather forecast, so I was sweating a little bit when that snow came. But thank goodness they scored. So thank you. And we're 6-6 with the over/under. My two play, strictly for entertainment purposes only. I picked Michigan and Ohio State, and I should have done that against the spread, but I just wanted to get some wins, man. I need some wins. So that wasn't a lot, but I got my win. My three play, again, getting wins back. I need to get some W's. Florida State, Clemson, Georgia was my three play. I felt like the SEC. I was playing bums. Just trying to get a win. I'm just trying to get some wins, man. And then my money line pick, I thought I had something, Mike, but I didn't. I picked Western Kentucky over Auburn. And my upsets of the week, 2-10 on the season. So keep looking for our picks on Twitter. As long as Twitter lasts, might have to switch to Instagram, but that's a political thing.
We'll be
we're
on
not
Instagram.
going there.
We'll be on Instagram.
I'm still trying to figure out how to use all this stuff. I don't know. But before I get to my season-long win totals, Mike, how do these people have time? And I'm not talking about the young people. I'm talking about the adults. How do they have time to post all this stuff? I'm working. Kelly, when do we post this stuff? I don't know what these people are doing. Okay. So anyway, season-long win totals. Mike, going into the last week of the season, I'm still in play with a lot of stuff. I got Georgia over 11 wins. They're at 11 wins playing Georgia Tech. I think I got that. Okay. Kansas already won. NC State, this will be the last time I'll talk about those bums because I've lost that one now because of them. All right. Nebraska under 7.5. Yes, we already won that one. Notre Dame over 8.5. We've been talking the last few weeks. Notre Dame is at 8 wins. If they beat SC, I win the ticket, baby. I win the ticket. So that's going to be one of the games.
Another drink in Vegas.
That's another drink in Vegas. All right, Penn State, congratulations. Penn State was over 8.5. They got the win. They're at 9 wins. That's another ticket at the pay window. My two play of Texas under 8.5 and Texas A&M under 8.5. Got that clean. South Carolina over 6.5 wins. They are at 7 wins. I am just as shocked as you are, but hey, I will take it to the pay window because that's my bowl money. So it doesn't matter what they do next week against Clemson. So again, congratulations to the Gamecocks. I got Clemson over 10.5 wins. They're at 10 wins, playing South Carolina next week. Go on and mollywop them, to quote my partner, and then I could win that one too. And we have Ohio State over 11 wins. They are at 11, playing Michigan. We're taking Ohio State because we're getting the money, baby. We're getting the money. And speaking of getting the money, Week 13 games to watch. Fans, I will be in Viva Las Vegas for Thanksgiving.
Las Vegas.
Yes, indeed. And you know, he never sang that song in concert. Never did. Not
Never
once.
performed it?
He never performed Viva Las Vegas live. Please don't ask me why I know random Elvis trivia, but
Okay.
That's some random. I know that's some random stuff. So on Thanksgiving Day, when this comes out, we're putting money down on the Egg Bowl. And I'm more likely than not going with Ole Miss, but I want to see the spreads and all of that. And shout out to the state of Maryland for finally waking up. Now I can do it on my couch, and we'll increase the number of things we bet on, but not the unit of measure. Okay. We're still betting 10, baby. Still betting 10. Friday games of interest. Well, I did have some interest in NC State, UNC, but not anymore. So yeah, we'll do some bets, but nothing to waste showtime on. Saturday, Michigan, Ohio State, man, that's a big one. What's
In the
up?
show notes, you had your team. You ain't mentioned Cincinnati. What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, look,
All right?
we have left that. That was last year. Tulane and Cincinnati would have been a good game, but no one cares, man. I told you in segment one, the American, you're just playing out the string, man. Having senior night, have your parents wave, and we're done with you. Okay.
The show notes. The show notes.
You've lost interest, man. So Saturday, we got to pay attention to Michigan, Ohio State.
Mhm.
We've got to see if Oregon State can upset Oregon because Oregon State's ranked in the CFP. All right, they're ranked 23 now, and by the time this comes out with all the losses, they might be 20. And they're playing in Corvallis. Ain't nothing in Corvallis going on. So, and I think they call that game the Civil War. I think they do. I think Oregon State's called the Civil War. One of the 400 games probably called the Civil War. All right, Kansas is playing Kansas State. Can Kansas actually win another game this season? And Kansas State's playing for a chance for the Big 12, championship.
To the East Coast. Wake me up.
Yeah. All right. Coastal's playing JMU, and Coastal's trying to get that 10th win. And JMU knows that they can't play in the postseason. So that may be interesting just because of that.
Knock them out the bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're playing at JMU. So this is it for them. And, JMU had a very successful inaugural season. They might want to go out with a bang. So I'll check the spread on that one. But I'll be home then and I can do it on my couch. Iowa State's playing TCU. Iowa State's awful. And they're playing at TCU and the buzzards are circling. So TCU should flex on that one. And then, of course, the game of the week for me. Notre Dame is playing USC prime time. Saturday night's all right for fighting. So we're going to check that one out. Heisman watch, sir. I've made some adjustments to my Heisman watch since the events of yesterday. So number one on my list is C.J. Stroud. Number two is Hendon Hooker, but he's hurt. I don't know how much he's hurt, but if he doesn't play anymore, that's it. He might get invited, and they lost too, so that hurts him. 3, Michigan running back Blake Corum, but he's hurt, and if they go out and lose to Ohio State the way I think they're going to lose to Ohio State, he's going to be out. Drake May had an opportunity and blew it, so hey, I'm sorry. He's still on the list, but that was a poo-poo performance. 5, Caleb Williams is about to shoot up the list because every game he's playing now to the end of the season is a spotlight game. If he slings 5 touchdowns against Notre Dame and then slings hash at the Pac-12, championship, he gonna be top 3 and got a chance to win that thing. Okay. Right. TCU's quarterback Max Duggan has been a big-time player in big-time games and in big-time moments. And if they keep winning, you cannot not have that dude in New York City. Now, you might not give it to him, but you cannot have that guy there. And then, Mike, your boy, Bo Nix is back on my list. Because if they make it to the Pac-12 championship and Caleb's getting all the juice and he outshines Caleb in that Pac-12 championship game, if they're able to make it, he's in New York City. Okay, that's what I think.
Okay.
What do you think, sir? Heisman watch.
Heisman watch. Hendon Hooker fell off. It's hard to argue with Blake Corum's stats, but if he's not playing, he's not playing. I mean, you can't do that. And again, TCU, Max Duggan. I mean, to the victor go the spoils.
Yeah.
To the victor go the spoils.
All right. So major bowl watch, Big Ten, Pac-12. We'll shake that out next week. Cotton Bowl is probably going to be the most boringest bowl because it's going to be one of them group of 5 teams against somebody that's pissed off that they're not in the CFP, and those games tend to be bad. Rose Bowl tends to be a good game because of the pageantry, the tradition, and they actually care about the Big Ten versus the Pac-12. They actually care. The Sugar Bowl, SEC, Big 12. Again, it's usually an SEC team mad that they're not in it. And that SEC team tends to be the mad one that says, we want to be in the top 5, so we're going to do whatever. And then the Orange Bowl is the underperforming ACC champion getting whooped by, by the good team that's left out of the real games. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. So, Mike, how deep do you want to go into bowls next week, or we're just going to play it by ear?
I'll play it by ear.
All right.
You
A couple of quick hitters before we leave. One, as we tape this episode, as it airs, it will be the 225th episode of the Odd Coaches podcast. And by gosh, I'm so proud of us. And shout out to super producer Kelly, shout out to Sharita, shout out to my tag team partner, shout out to our OCP team of correspondents, and shout out to me. I write most of this stuff. So I'm very happy that we're on the air, we're in a rhythm, we're in a groove, and we're having fun, man. And we're doing exactly what we said we want to do: informational, entertaining sports commentary. Mike, anything you want to say about episode 225 Off the Humble?
No, sir. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Good stuff, man. So, Mike, please let us know your thoughts on the event that took place at Maryland this past week. I think it's important, as we are airing on Thanksgiving, that you share some words about what happened and the positive energy that was at stadium this past week.
Oh man, thank you for allowing me to share about it. But yeah, we had our 6th annual toy food, non-perishables and canned foods drive at a Maryland event. Already picked the date for next year, but this year we had so much. I think we started out, when we first started this, we was happy to get 1 bin, 2 bins, 3 bins. Now we're averaging 4 to 5 bins each year, and able to drop it off to Sarah's house and continue to help other people who may be a little less fortunate to be in that space, for AJ to be in that space with those kids who have dreams too. They share that time with them and give to those families who may be, at their worst right now. This may be experiencing their worst. And to have, someone show up and say they care about you and wish you, the best of success, I think it means a lot. It also means a lot that we're trying to help our community. I think if we don't do it, we can wait for every politician in the world and they can promise us everything. But until, we put the action in and put our boots to the ground, then it don't mean anything. We want to be the change, not see the change. We want to be the change.
Well, Thanksgiving, fans, is my favorite holiday. The reason why it's my favorite holiday is because for just one moment, people kind of put stuff aside and they come together for a meal and swap lies, tell stories, and then it's off to the Black Friday sales and all of that stuff. And my high school coach, Hank Galata, used to always give us a Thanksgiving message. So in honor of my late, great coach, I'm going to try to do the same thing. And fans, if you could take the moment to pause and just give a big thank you to the underappreciated folks in your day-to-day, that would make me happy. So a big thank you to our building service workers at our school. Amen. A big thank you to our assistant coaches who drive the kids to and from practice. A big thank you to the parents who are waiting outside, multitasking with their iPhones while the kids do all of the things to provide the needed distraction. And Mike's event is that proof of thank you to the helpers, because without the helpers, we can't do anything. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student athlete academic progress, to improving student athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE project provides wraparound services for student athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.